Well, thanks very much, Troy, and thanks to everyone for coming on today. And well done to all the fellow speakers that have been up here today. It's a great group that we've got here, passionate business people. And for myself, running agribusiness for a long time, working in the agribusiness side of it, it still comes down to, and we've heard it all today, satisfied customers is the best business strategy. So for me today, I'm talking about leading regional teams and driving commercial success in agribusiness. Heard a lot about it today from some previous speakers, so there's going to be some commonalities coming out through this particular talk. So hopefully I can bring it home for you. But firstly, what's a regional team? We're all in agribusiness, so I suppose what we all deal with is geographically being spread, national split into sales regions or state regions, remote to the head office or the national sales manager, regional, part of a rural community, and I think we've heard a lot of that today, and telling the story of the rural communities are really important and what you can contribute to those. A lot of planned travel. There's probably a lot of kilometres within this room, I would suggest, that travel around to their businesses. And obviously you want to get the most out of those that investment in travel. Secondly and lastly, subject to the rural infrastructure. And rural infrastructure is getting better, but as we get into data and those sorts of things, the connectivity has to be considered. So those are the sort of important things we have to think about in our regional teams. What do I believe in? The aspects of a successful commercial business is really three things: customer, product and sales team. We've heard some of that already talked about today. The customer, I was happy to hear Danielle talking about the interests rather than the statistics or the data. Too many people, and we're all passionate about our products, but what we always forget about is what the actual customer really has the interest in. And we all get talked about the data, the product and those sorts of scenarios. So the storytelling and what it can help them with is what's in it for them, okay? The next one is product, the position. Why are we looking at the position? Why is it there? Ollie mentioned it in the conversation we had up here. I think Karen mentioned it as well. That is so important. Look at what the position is of the product. Look at what you're trying to sell, why you're putting it into that position, and why you're going to do it, okay? And most importantly, the area that I'm here to talk about is really about the sales team. And the sales team is, what's their capability? Do they understand the story behind it? Do they understand why we're trying to position it there? And can they actually do the job, okay? Because the reality is some people, and I've heard the geeks, nerds, and scientists, I think were all mentioned today, some people are great at developing data. Some people are great at developing products, and they are fantastic within our communities. But put them in front of a farmer or a customer and they go to pieces, or I think they, to Danielle's point, get fairly argumentative because they know the data, okay? So the capability of the person selling your product or working with your product is really important, okay? And their ability to be able to trust that. So what do you get out of a regional team? You get local knowledge. Local knowledge is really good to help you in a local area. However, what you want to do is become the trusted advisor. Now, anyone that's had anything to do with sales would have heard this, the trusted advisor. And the reason for that, and I find this a lot in agriculture and for the people that I coach and train, is because I hear this scenario. If people like you, they'll listen to you. But if they trust you, they'll do business with you. And a lot of talk goes in on agriculture and agribusiness because they're liked. We're likable people. We trust each other sometimes, but we do a lot of talking, okay? And when I go out to a business and we start talking about it, there's one element is they're getting their foot into the door, okay? But what they aren't getting is actually the commitment, okay? And so trust comes down to a number of things, but if you look at the trust equation, you want to look at the things like credibility, okay? You want to look about how you're intimate with your customer, okay? And what you do is you add those up, those scenarios, and you divide it by your self-orientation, okay? What I normally find is that when I look at the pitch of someone selling their product, it's self-orientated at number one, and then the rest of it is actually added up and divided by it, okay? So there is actually a trust equation that you work on. And that helps form your pitch, your story, and when you're going out to actually talk to the people that you're trying to turn into customers, and more importantly, partnerships. So once you have a team of trusted advisors and you've been working through it, as a leader or as a manager, if you're working with them and you're running the business, you're going to find they're fairly important people in your business, but they are very, very conscious of the whole business. Okay, and they want to be connected to a lot of this sort of thing. So they are certainly customer focused, okay, and they are basically looking to a value creator, a deal maker, the strategic thinker, and the rainmaker. Okay, and they're going to use everything within the business to help that become a reality. Okay, they're going to look for relationship development. They're going to look for the marketing connection. Okay, they're going to look for answers. They're going to look for reports. They're going to look for the tracking. Okay, they're going to look for empowerment. They're going to look for information. So as a manager, what's the best thing you can do is really connect them, okay, to all those elements. And today, as I see it, we as leaders are actually in the best position to actually help our trusted advisors become really the best trusted advisors and, more importantly, the most empowered. And the reason I say that is that through my own experiences and through working with companies, we've started to see the technology, as connectivity's got better into the regional services, get a lot better. And what we've started to see is lead generation and customer data. This is the trusted advisor in the middle here. We've got the customer experience, so logistics and those sorts of scenarios going on, customer service. Targeted marketing, which is really important, telling the story, making sure the data is getting out there and a mixture of the data. And we're starting to see the integration of technology starting to help. And as that technology starts to become better and becomes more available in those sorts of scenarios, we're seeing quicker answers by these trusted advisors to keep those relationships building. Okay? But we want to make sure we collaborate with what you get. You need to get these guys involved if you are going to look at these sorts of scenarios starting to come in. The ladies and the men that I work with in these trusted advisors, they know roughly what they need, but they want to also get the stakeholders' input because they trust these guys as well. Okay, so you must get that collaboration going. I heard a lot of collaboration going on around about this today, so it's really important. Customer focus will always be their focus. Be aware of regional connectivity. Some of these magnificent systems fail, unfortunately, at the moment while we've got poor connectivity, but there are some that are really leaping bounds ahead, okay, because they can be used online and offline. Must deliver efficiency. Used to up-to-date reporting, okay? It needs to be on the spot, moment by moment. If they're a trusted advisor and they're sales oriented, they'll be looking at that. Information repository. This for your business is so important. If you're an owner, a manager, you want one source of the information, what's going on out there, how's it all working, okay? This is actually the important part. A lot of the CRMs are geared up for those sorts of scenarios. Trusted advisors empowering to gain commitment, okay? So they can connect with all of these, get that information there, they can get the commitment straight away, and that's how you start to bring that trusted advisor there. But we did not have this 4 or 5 years ago. Started to see inklings of it 10 years ago, but now we have that scenario coming through. That's really helping our trusted advisors do the job. However, if you are out there and you are leading a team and you are looking at it, the confusion out there today is huge. Okay, we saw Smart Farmer being used as a process. I've used a lot of other processes in there, and these things aren't cheap. Some are, but they are not cheap, and they all come with some sort of area of speciality. Okay, so for myself, it's go back to that collaboration, talk to your advisors, and work through it. And if you can work through it, you'll come up with 1, 2, or a platform that actually brings some of these things together. Okay, and I think it was it Kelly? Kellyanne? Sorry, you talked about change. These things fail horribly, these sales enablement tools, if you don't take it through the change management. Anything you're doing, whether you're trying to change something with the product that you're taking through, please take on board this has been around for years, but so many people ignore it, is a change management that's involved that you're trying to implement, whether it be a sales enablement tool or the product that you're trying to take. And it really is, make sure you got your answers all the way through here as the person hits that shock and denial, as they hit that anger and fear. But then if you're starting to get the traction there, you're starting to get some acceptance, and then obviously you're starting to get some commitment. And it's all about coming out, as Kelly said, what are the changes that are going to need to be implemented? What are the steps that you're going to take to implement those changes? And how are you really going to get to that point where you get that commitment and rebuilding? Okay. Conclusion, quickly for me, Develop, attract and retain trusted advisors. They are and will deliver the best commercial outcomes for you guys. The harsh reality is, do you have these people working for you if you've got a product that you're really invested in? You might be a great support person for those person, but that if you haven't got these trusted advisors working for you, or you don't have the disciplines or the skills of being a trusted advisor, seek coaching, understand how you do it, because these guys have got the runs on the board already. As leaders, we need to connect these people, and so if they're informed and empowered, they will go away and do the business. Today, we see a lot of the actual movement between companies and everything like that. A lot of it comes down to they are going to companies that provide these people the empowerment and the quick answers. Okay. The right sales enablement tool will definitely change the game for you. No question about that. But what it will do is it challenge the norm. And for you guys to actually get it right, you must make those changes and get on that change curve and look at what the plan is to implement the change. And finally, the collaboration and the change management is crucial to success for the outcome. Get that challenge right, make sure you map it out. It is actually the first thing that you planned before you release your change, okay, or what you're trying to implement. So, thank you, and good luck with everything going forward. I am absolutely honoured to come up in here and have a chat, but it's really great to see how much is happening within this state and just alone in agritech. So, thanks very much.
Thanks, Owen.